talk about the path of jnana. Right?
Yes.
And in the third description, it is Nididhyasana.
Nididhyasana, yes. Vedantic meditation.
I also heard a description of it as observation of these kind of mini samadhis in a way, little samadhis that keep coming, the aha moments, the aha. In kind of like Mahayana Buddhism also has a similar.
Yes.
What is that approach of the mini samadhis? This life as a series of awakenings to bring that over and over again to you. What is that?
All right, that's a good question. Traditionally, Nididhyasana, which is non-dual meditation, would be equivalent to a prolonged samadhi. Samadhi itself, in its definition in the Yoga Sutras, is prolonged meditation. Dharana, focus, dhyana, meditation, and then samadhi. Samadhi would last a deep, lasting absorption. Then only it satisfies the definition of samadhi. However, in Vedantic Nididhyasana, you remember you have already gone through the phase of listening and studying the truth, going through the teachings. That's the first phase. That's called Shravana. Then comes clarifying the truth, asking every possible question until one begins to get a grasp of it. Clarity comes. That is called Manana. Once we have got clarity, I know the teaching and I know what it means. Now you need to stay with it. That staying with it is called Nididhyasana. You can stay with it with eyes closed and cutting out the world, turning inwards, focusing on the truth, which is you've got clarity already. Without the clarity, Nididhyasana will not work. Or you can also with eyes open, engaged in the world also, because the same truth is here. Staying with it is Nididhyasana. Now, prolonged or a series of little absorptions. You can even call it little samadhis. You can tweak the definition of samadhi to relax the requirement that it has to be prolonged. Why would you do that? The reason, it's a very eminently practical step. You do that because our modern minds are not, to be frank, pure enough, trained enough. We have conditioned and dumped so much garbage into it that it is not capable of deep absorptions. It might come, deep absorption might come, but those are rare and very valuable, but very rare. That doesn't mean one should give up attempting Nididhyasana, Vedantic non-dual meditation. One can instead have a series of little samadhis. Stay with it. This is one Tibetan monk. He said that it's better, instead of trying to prolong deep absorption, if you can, good. I know there are a few who can. But if you cannot, in most of our cases we cannot. In that case, don't give up. Have these short absorptions, maybe for a few seconds. Then let go. Come back to Shravana, Manana, get the clarity, and then center yourself and dive deep. And then let go. Why? Because if at this kind of a mind, if it tries to have a prolonged deep meditation, thoughts will come up and interfere and ruin your meditation. Then it will be a constant struggle of trying to hold on to something which is already lost. Better step back and jump in again. A series of short absorptions. You can call it little samadhis. I am reminded of this British nun who became a Tibetan Buddhist. She took up Tibetan Buddhism and she became an ordained nun, I think for the first one to do so. An English woman. And one of her talks, which I have never met her, but I saw her online, one of her talks long ago, an old documentary. She says to a gathering of Westerners, she says, I'd like to point out that what we have learned from the venerable Tibetan masters, it's not wrong, but they are missing something. They are not like us. They, from their very childhood, they have been brought up in those icy, the Tibetan plateau, in monasteries from very childhood. They have lived a very simple, rigorous life of study and meditation, of austerity and discipline. Their minds are quite different from our minds. So the practices which they say works very well for them. Straightforward, as it should. But we need some help. We need certain tweaking of it. So the series of little samadhis is a suggestion which actually came from the Tibetan tradition, from a modern Tibetan. Modern means he has passed away a few decades ago.
Become Swami Vivekananda's